Hey everybody, it's John O with Alert Sports. Welcome back to the channel. So it's been a little while since I've seen you guys last. I recently started a new job in the current world events. It's been a little hard to get out to make some content, but looking forward to getting back into it and hopefully making some good videos for you guys. So anyways, today I have a pretty long awaited video that I teased in my last review, and I'm really excited to show you guys what I got. So as you may know, I have a pretty diverse collection of gun models with various power sources, but I do have a pretty soft spot in my heart for gas blowbacks. So today I get to show you my most recent contribution to my green gas fueled attrition in the form of this beauty right here. Now, I don't think I need to tell you what this is. If you've been in the sport for any amount of time, you've probably seen one of these. If not, this is the KWA KMP9. So, per usual, I'm going to start off with giving you guys a good visual of the gun, just an up-close look at it, so you can get an idea of everything. So we'll start at the front. Flip it over. So like I said, this is the KWA KMP9, or as it's more commonly known, just the MP9. I've had my eye on this thing ever since it came out many years ago. So I figured after all that time, why not? The KMP9 is a proven system and it's very widespread. But despite all that, I really found a void in high quality reviews of it. They really give you a good look at the fit and finish and the performance of the gun. So I'm going to throw in my 2 cents. So another interest of mine in this platform pertains to one of my other gas blowback models, the S&T gas blowback M4, which hopefully you guys have seen that video. If not, it's on my channel. I have 2 different versions, one that is just the matrix gas blowback, and then the one that is upgraded and reinforced by S&T. If you want, you can go check out both of those. Long story short, the matrix alone model is pretty garbage, and the S&T version is one of my most highly touted gas blowbacks that I've ever owned. That being said, while there are a few full-sized gas blowback rifles in the price range of the S&T M4, I don't feel that there's many that truly compete with it in terms of value and performance. So you kind of have to step down to, an SMG, PDW, machine pistol size with the KWA variants in this and the MP7, or something like the VFC or Toki Marui MP7s. So I believe this may actually give the S&T M4 a run for its money, albeit in a smaller platform. Be on the lookout for a complete comparison between those 2 models, this and the S&T M4 in the future. Today we're going to be focusing just on the MP9, but I will throw in my concluding thoughts on it at the end, and may give you a preview of how I feel comparing the 2 models. With all that, let's hop into the review. The KWA KMP9 is a gas-powered SMG, machine pistol, PDW. You can argue about it in the comments. You're gonna hear a different answer from everybody, but generally this is a PDW or machine pistol, and I believe B&T refers to it as a PDW. So like I said, you can throw in your opinions down there, but that's all I'm going to say about it. So a little history of the gun. It's based on the real steel B&T MP9. Like I said earlier, the B&T MP9 is actually a modernization of the Steyr TMP, which notably lacked the folding stock, the rail systems on the side and top, and had a different trigger mechanism. So the TMP and MP9 are incredibly iconic movie weapons. and the airsoft version definitely lives up to that. Most people are familiar with it when they see it, and if you bring this thing to a field, just about everyone and their mom knows what it is and wants to mess around with it, wants to shoot it. And that's pretty incredible for such an old platform. So let's go over some of the externals on this thing and some of the modifications I've done to make it perform to my liking. Alright guys, so let's go over some of the externals on this thing. Starting at the front, metal flash hider. This does not have 14mm threads or threads of any sort. You're going to need to replace the outer barrel to get a threaded outer barrel, or get an adapter such as this one by G&G. Kind of hard to get your hands on one of these, or especially the DangerWorks threaded outer barrel, but those are going to be your two best options for mounting any sort of suppressor or trace units on the front. So behind that, we've got a lower Picatinny rail, which I have a BCM stubby grip attached to it currently. However, you can also get a version without the rail that has an integrated vertical grip. Moving a little bit back, we have the main receivers and body of the gun. The trigger guard here, which has a little bit of a flare to it on either side. The trigger, which has the center style trigger safety. That is the only safety on this gun, similar to a Glock or other striker fired pistols. Next behind that, we have the selector switch. And if it is to the left side, you can see a single red dot. To the right, there are 3 red dots indicating full auto. Beneath that, we have the mag release, which is fairly small and fairly stiff. Moving back a little bit further, we have our bolt stop here. Pushes up to activate and down to release. You can see if I push up on the bolt stop, I can lock the bolt in the rear position. And then by pushing down, drop the bolt. Moving back even further, we have our sling mount here. It's just a polymer loop molded into the back of the gun. However, it's pretty thick, but as you can see, I've mounted my own steel sling mount just for something a little more sturdy. Below that, we have the push button for the folding stock. Stock wraps around and attaches to the other side. And then we have our polymer nylon fiber wire stock. This does have a point where you could theoretically attach a sling, but I would never attach a sling something that far back. The stock is sturdy, but it's not the most sturdy thing in the world. Flipping it over, we can see our ejection port and bolt here. So jumping back a little bit here, we have our trigger. One thing to note about this trigger is it is a semi and full auto trigger, meaning that with a half pull of the trigger in full auto, you will get a semi-auto single shot. And then if you pull completely back, you will get a full auto burst. So this will also give you a look at the semi full auto trigger here. So if I pull half back, but if I was to pull fully to the rear, we get fully automatic. So now that we've gone over the general externals of the gun, let's get into the internals. So first I'll show you guys a little bit of how to disassemble this thing and find your way around some of the components on the inside. Hey guys, so as I'm editing this, I'm realizing it's going to be a little much to have a complete disassembly and reassembly crammed into the middle of this video, so be on the lookout for a future video coming out on the channel for a complete disassembly, reassembly, and maintenance guide. So right now I'm just going to show you a few of the key features of the internals and just run over some quick maintenance tips. So here, looking down into the lower receiver, we have a few key components you can see. So if we look here, we're looking at the hammer, and to the left of that is the disconnector. With a lot of sustained full auto fire, a lot of MP9 owners will see a cracked disconnector or a cracked hammer axle. If your hammer is not resetting, it's most likely a hammer axle crack. So as you can see here, on the left side, this is the buffer pad that provides recoil absorption of the bolt. So moving up to the front here, we can see the trigger spring located here and the trigger mechanism located here. So if we take a closer look at our feed ramp here, we can get to one of the first modifications I've made to this gun. As you can see, at the bottom of the feed ramp, right about here, I've polished this. This is to enable it to feed a little smoother. This edge was very harsh from the factory, and it was actually slicing into BBs, I found. Sometimes if I pulled a BB out of the chamber, I could see cuts from those ridges as it was feeding it into the chamber, especially using a slower feeding mag, such as a tap HPA adapter, which doesn't have constant spring pressure on those BBs, making sure they get up and out of the feed lips, allowing the nozzle to cleanly push it up the ramp. So it's not necessary if you're running the green gas mags entirely. However, I do think it's a very simple, easy modification that could protect your BBs from getting sliced up, chopped up, and decreasing accuracy. Also, if you ever get a jam, it puts a lot of stress on the bottom of the loading nozzle right here. And this can actually crack. It's a very common occurrence in MP9s from this problem, and also from loading a overfilled full magazine on a closed bolt and snapping that feed ramp there. Speaking of the nozzle, here's the nozzle plunger and the bolt carrier. So anyways, very simple internals to this thing. That's pretty much it in terms of internals. Everything you'll need to know for general maintenance. Lube up these rails so that the bolt slides on. Clean and lube the hammer. Clean and lube the rails on your bolt carrier. Lightly lube the plunger in your piston. And other than that, also lube the octagonal cuts that you can see that the bolt runs along the outer barrel with. So before I take you guys out to the range, let's go over the magazines just a little bit. I only have the long mags, but there are short mags. These are very hefty, very solidly constructed mags. They could definitely take a hit falling on the ground. I've never had any leaks from these. Gas efficiency is really good. Always get at least one magazine, usually two magazines, especially if I'm semi-auto or burst firing. Loved the performance on green gas for this thing. I do like running HPA. It's just so much cheaper, and it's also a very consistent pressure, so you get very consistent performance. Anyways, let's get out to the range so I can do a chrono test and an accuracy test of this bad boy. All right, guys, so we're out here at the range. We're gonna do a little accuracy test. We have a target set up at about 100 feet. I'm gonna show you the target real quick just so you get an idea what we're shooting at. So here's the target for today. It's an old shitty sticky Crossman target. It's about chest size, as you can see. It's sticky, so the shots should stick to it, but I'll also throw a graphic up there to show you where the shots landed. So we're going to be shooting this, like I said, at about 100 feet and about 150 feet. And if you can shoot reliably in a chest-sized target at that distance, you're going to be getting consistent hits. One thing to note is that today I'm going to be running off of HPA. It's a little bit colder out. It's not too cold, but it may affect the performance on green gas. So I just want to get the maximum consistency so you really see how this thing performs, not how your gas mags are performing that day. So I'm going to be running at about 120 psi, which is almost exactly what green gas is at. So let's get into the accuracy test and see how it performs. So as you can see, we had 19 out of 20 shots hit the target, with the 20th shot hitting the rim of the target. So definitely consistently hitting a chest-sized target at 100 feet. All right, guys. So let's get a little chrono test going. The chrono I'm going to be using today is the Ace-Tech Lighter BT tracer unit. It's going to be hooked up to my phone, and I'm going to screen record the results and throw those up on the screen so you can see them as I'm shooting it. So hopefully that'll give you a good idea how this performs. Like I said, I'm running on HPA, but I'm running at the pressure of green gas with 0.25s, so that'll give you a good idea of what you'll be hitting at the field. All right, so first shot, 379, 377, 377, 377, 380, 380, 382, 377. All right, guys, so as you can see, we were averaging around 377 to 380 pretty consistently. So I'd say that's pretty good if you're running field with 0.25s. Also have a CQB bolt that I run when I'm going to indoor. So that'll probably bump it down to like 330, 320 area with 0.25s. All right, guys, so coming back in from the range, as you can see, this thing is a performer. Very consistent FPS on HPA, similar results on green gas, and the accuracy is very decent for the very short barrel and the nature of a gas blowback. You're gonna have flyers every once in a while, but overall, good performer. Hit that target 19 out of 20 times, chest size at about 100 feet, and that's really all you can ask for in something like this. You want to point it at your target and hit it 19 out of 20 times. You know, you can't really ask for anything better than that. So good performance there. Moving into my final thoughts of this, I think it is a tried and true platform. I think it's been a classic and a performer ever since it came out. A lot of people have loved it. There has been some criticisms of its reliability, of parts breaking, but that's the nature of this platform, guys. It is a very harsh, rapid firing system, and with that, there's going to be a lot of stressors on things, and it's hard in gas blowbacks to produce things that aren't going to break. You're going to always have a weak point of the system, and that weak point of the system is going to be either the hammer axle or the disconnector. And if you just make those parts steel, something else is going to break. So I'd rather replace a $12 disconnector or an $8 hammer any day of the week, rather than replacing, the whole bolt carrier system or something like that. I haven't had any of those issues. I think if you maintain this gun well and fire it how it's designed to be fired, not just mag dumping every 5 seconds, which you shouldn't be doing in the field anyways, you're going to be fine, and this thing's going to last you a long time. While I haven't had this in many game situations, with current world events, I've shot this thing many times, and I have taken it out to a day or two at indoor, and it has performed very well both times I did that. So those are my final thoughts, guys. Like I said, I would recommend this highly. Thanks to the user on the subreddit Airsoft Marketplace, Lead Farmer, for providing this. I purchased it from him, very smooth purchase. And that being said, Airsoft Marketplace is a great place to find used guns, but always, guys, when you're dealing with individuals on the internet, be careful, do your research, make sure they're a reliable source, and make sure that you protect yourself at all times. So that's a good funnel into another discussion of mine. As I'm closing this video out, I'm currently in talks with another user on the marketplace to find a very exciting gun. It's not finalized yet. However, if it is, I'm going to be really excited to show it to you guys. Not many of these in the US. I have other guns from the same real steel manufacturer, and it is a sub-gun genre. I'll leave it at that, but very excited for it. Not many videos on that as well, so hopefully if I do get that, I can put a video up of that. But until then, this is John with Alert Sports, and thanks for stopping by. Peace.